Previously on Lost.
Find the 14.
14 there on the big ratchet.
I need to tighten this bottom two gearbox. Actually, what's this I've seen here? 15.
The next morning.
So a rather eventful late night last night. I didn't show you damage, but that's what remains of the splitter from my little off at Coppice. Gearbox out, shot back to the workshop. Between Ryan and Ash, can't thank them two guys enough, honestly. Lucky to have them two guys on hand at the time. Just got the second gearbox, and we did the best we can with the bits we had. So we've got back a gearbox with the disc back in it. So we finally got the gearbox back in at 12:30 this morning. Managed to do a couple of sort of drives up and down here, and I can get gears 1 to 4 and reverse, but the gears are really difficult to get in, almost like I'm forcing the selector rod in. So we've put a new clutch cable on this morning, and hopefully that's going to solve our gear selection issues. But we've just been called for our first session of the day, and basically this is make or break. If I can't get gears that I'm happy with, day's over. If I can sort of get gears, then we're probably going to persevere and damage the box to get today out. So yeah, first section, we'll see how we go, and obviously I'll speak to you in a second to see what the diagnosis is. So I genuinely can't thank everyone who helped sort the gearbox out. I know you're all watching this, so I really appreciate it. But as you can see here, something isn't quite right. It's still popping out of gear. But I'm not going to let this ruin the day. We're just going to work with the tools that we've got, basically. And as you can see, first session of the day, so it's a bit wet from the night before because it absolutely lashed it down during the night. But it's drying up pretty quickly. But unfortunately, this session is about to get cut short for me, as you'll see in a sec.
You alright, mate? You can't park there, huh?
So, not really the start of the day that I would have liked, considering the issues that we had yesterday. So, yeah, here you can see we're being towed back to the pits on the pull of shame. And I'll tell you one thing I've not had done for a while is, you know those guys that sit with the cameras on the entrance to car shows and take your picture as you're entering the car show? Well, got a golden opportunity coming up the right hand side, just here. Give a little wave out the window, and got myself a little memento. So that didn't go as planned. Had to hold it in gear, kept popping out of gear. Found the engine mount was loose. We solved that, and then coming to park straight, got the throttle, engine cut out, and then we found that the isolator button pin had come off the back, which luckily Ilya spotted. So we fixed it. It's running. Hopefully we've got gears without having to hold it in gear, and no electrical issues. However, I've lent Ilya my spare car this weekend, and you guys have put it in a fucking barrier.
You alright, mate? You can't park there, huh?
What a cunt! So, second section of the day. We've just left the holding area and we had first and second gear on the way down to the holding area. We are currently still in second gear, which as you can see does help quite a bit because it helps us pull us out this out the hairpin bend just here. A bit difficult to do in third gear, but all of this is about to become undone as we're coming down the pit straight here. We're in third gear, come off the throttle, pops out of gear just there, and that's it. We've now lost first and second gear. How bizarre. And then this happens. Good old money shit. We're used to those. But that's it for this section. Nothing really interesting happens. So we'll just jump straight into the fastest lap of this section. Let's go. So that's the second section done. Still struggling with gears. We've got third and fourth. Could really do a second gear to pull me out of the hairpin. There's at least a second now because it's just not pulling the car out. We're going to do some slight modifications to the gear linkage and see how we go. But other than that, everything seems okay. I suppose oil's fine. So yeah, we did a 1:44.6, which is PB around here for that. Definitely a couple more seconds in it, so just need to come back another day with a gearbox which selects gears. So here we go, third section of the day, qualifying, the penultimate section of the day. So once again we've messed with the gear tower. We've managed to get first and second gear once again, but again, as per the previous section, we've got second gear now, but it does this weird thing where it pops out of gear just now and that's it. We've lost first, second gear again, so something is definitely going on here. We're going to have to investigate when we get the car back to the workshop. But again, money shift there again, you know, almost as if this is the same clip from the previous section, but it's not. Go back and compare. So anyway, for the rest of the section I'm going to have to hold it in gear while steering one-handed. Happy days. So we're on lap 5, we've got a bit of pace and we're just going to continue into lap 6 on a flying lap. and then Will Bonfield decides to park his car at Coppice.
You alright, mate? You can't park there, sir.
So they obviously put out the red flags so they can recover Will's K20 swap taker junk. And we'll just pull into the pits here, and a couple of laps ago, coming out of Mansfield, I pulled a muscle on the right side of my stomach. Now, I'm 23 stone, an absolute unit of a man, and it's a lot of weight to be chucking around on a circuit, especially like this, and I'm just in an incredible amount of pain, really uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm just sort of struggling to deal with it basically, and then Matt Beardmore comes along, notices that I'm looking like I'm in a bit of pain, and just sort of speaks to me really for the next 5 minutes, and I'd say becomes my breathing coach for the next few minutes. But yeah, I mean, it probably sounds a bit pathetic, but you know, I can't sort of explain how much that helped really during this situation, because it was incredibly painful, to say the least. And then 5 minutes later, we are let back on the circuit. Now luckily we're the first row to be let out, so we're just basically going to do a really aggressive warm-up lap, and we're just going to jump straight into our fastest lap of the session and also the weekend. Let's go. So that's the third session over. We bested our PB, I think by 15th or something. It'll be on the screen. The modifications to gear town, we had first, second, third and fourth when we left here, and it was staying in gear. But by the time we got down pit straight, it popped out of gear again and straight back to how it was in session 2. So we're pretty much thinking we can't really do anything to rectify that today. So we're going to leave it as is and go out for the final session. But Adam in it was second, Andy's first, Ilya's third. So if we can keep that for the final session, it'll be nice to have 1, 2, 3 on the podium as a team. So I think if I can go out and do a 144 or a low 145, I think I'm just going to come in and park it. So let's see how we get on. So you heard the boss. We're just going to jump straight into the session, and we are going to do our one and only lap of this session. Let's go. So no, that wasn't your eyes, that was indeed a big puff of blue smoke. As you can hear, we're on 3 cylinders, and at this point I'm not quite sure what is causing all this smoke pouring out the bonnet, but I kind of realised that maybe I might have put a hole in the block, so we best pull off the circuit at the next marshal post, which is just over here, and park it. Now, when I said I would go do one fast lap and park it, didn't quite mean park it on the infield, but you know, is what it is. But I thought this would be the wise choice rather than drop any potential oil onto the circuit. And as you'll see in the sec here, when lifting my car onto the recovery truck, you will see some drops of oil underneath the front wheel there on the track. So it's a good job you stopped. Well, that was a bit spectacular, wasn't it? I'm happy to confirm we did get our lap time in, so we have come second, and I can confirm we are 1, 2, 3 on the podium, so that's fucking fantastic. So yeah, oil everywhere, not a good sign. Pretty sure at this point we have melted another piston, and all the excess crankcase pressure has just pushed all the oil out of the rocker cover breather. But yeah, I'm not angry because we got what we wanted, but it was a 144, and it did that 144, and then the engine went. So, so yeah, it seems like another engine, another gearbox time. But again, these engines are pretty cheap at the moment. We are going to build an engine at some point when we get around to it. But yeah, actually just looking at the data logs now to see if we can see if there's anything obvious to why it blew. Other than that, we're gonna tidy up, go get a trophy.
The Bluetooth ones.
Okay, everybody, we got there. We're gonna. You're gonna have your word at the end, right? Yeah. We'll do the quick trophies. Okay. Today's result in third is Ilya Krylov. Second place, Eden Young.
What the hell?
That's a little bit, you know. There you go, excitement, isn't it?
And our Classic and Retro winner, setting a new lap record in the process, Andy Gray.
Yeah. Careful, mind the step.
So we can take my ego plunge.
This way, guys.
Yeah, boy. So yeah, that was an extremely stressful race report. Can't wear that was the hat because it conflicts with a sponsor on the car, so I'm sorry, you know who you are. Yeah, incredibly stressful race weekend, wouldn't you agree? You know, we're pretty lucky to have this considering the circumstances. Now, when I said I was going to do a 144 and park it, I just didn't think I'd be parking it on the infield at Park Straight. That wasn't the plan. So we're lucky to have done that 144 literally the next lap after the out lap, because if that had gone and we hadn't got a 144, I would have been absolutely devastated. But how cool was it to have a podium with your mates? You know, not just any podium, but sharing that same 1, 2, 3 podium with your mates. You know, congratulations to Andy Gray for taking first place. Well deserved, mate. And Ilya in the Binley Mega Chippy Civic. tagging along there in 5th place. Drove the hell out of that little Civic, and a lot of people keep thinking it's got a K swap or a B swap in it. No, it's 130 horsepower D16, so add that to your K swap and your B series. But yeah, that was the dream, and the dream happened. 1, 2, 3 podium with good mates, teammates for the rest of the year. So I'm pretty sure, as you can see behind me, is the Spicy Micra, currently in bits and missing its heart. Now, this is the outro to the video, by the way, because I forgot to film an outro at the time, and we're 2 weeks down the line. In fact, this is the last clip I've got to edit before I can upload the video to the YouTubes. So usually I would do this in a separate video, but a bit of Cadwell debrief. So that blue smoke coming out the bonnet, what was it? Well, turns out we had melted a piston. Turns out we had melted the piston on cylinder 1, which is completely different to all the other pistons that we have melted previously. Why have we melted a piston? Well, luckily we have got a data logging feature on the Haltech Elite, and we can tell you for certain that the piston melted due to a dramatic drop in fuel pressure. Now, I have got a adjustable fuel pressure regulator. It's a SciTech unit that I bought exactly a year ago, and for whatever reason it's no longer referencing boost, which would usually indicate like a split vacuum hose or something. I have been through all the vacuum hoses and there's no splits or anything in the hoses. In fact, the map sensor is teed in off the same vacuum line from the inlet manifold, and at the time we was having these fuel pressure issues. We were seeing 12 psi of boost. In fact, editing this video from the start, I've been keeping an eye on the fuel pressure tab on the IC7 dash, on the Haltech dash. And see, what usually happens with a fuel pressure regulator is that the fuel pressure will increase from your base pressure equal to that of the amount of boost pressure. So if your base pressure was 40 psi and you had 10 psi boost, your fuel pressure would be 50 psi on full chat. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, our fuel pressure regulator was doing the exact opposite. So rather than getting that 50 psi fuel pressure, we was actually getting 30 psi fuel pressure. It was actually decreasing fuel pressure by the boost pressure rather than increase it. And I'm pretty sure if you scroll back through the video, on day 1 in the practice, I believe Ash tells me that the fuel pressure is doing something really weird, and we're at 93% injector duty, which is not ideal. I don't know why the fuel pressure regulator has failed. In fact, I went back through to an old video, which was the Cadwell Sprint, which is the last time we had this car out before Cadwell, and the fuel pressure in that video is fine. In that video, it's doing exactly as it should, and nothing has really changed on that side of things in between those two events, so I've got no idea what was happening there. So yeah, this will be the 5th engine that we're putting in, and I just want to say, just to sort of like clear the air, is why am I persevering with these engines? Well, they've proven to be a very good, strong engine. The fact that we're now on our 5th engine isn't through the fact that the engine itself has failed, it's through a third-party part that has caused the failure. So the first engine died at Donington due to it spitting off the trigger wheel off the crank, and that was due to vibrations through this drive shaft that was too long last season, if you remember. The second engine melted at Brands Hatch, and that's because an injector pin came off the injector plug, so it melted the piston too. Engine 3 is what died at Snetterton last year, and that's because I didn't torque up the cam exhaust sprocket. The sprocket fell off, but that engine did last the entire day. It just literally broke right at the last second. And of course, the 4th engine, which is currently in our scrap pile over there, died because of fuel pressure. So these things happen in motorsport, but you know, I'm not going to let it drag me down. All we're going to do is just get back up and get going again. So new engine's over on the stand over there. We're actually putting a 1.8 in it for Brands Hatch. We're still going to build and forge a 1.5 because our sponsors have provided parts for the engine, and it is going to allow us to go back down a class next year, whereas the 1.8 will force us into a pro class basically with what we got. But yeah, we're putting a 1.8 in it to see how it goes, and also it was pretty cheap, so we're going to give that a go. Already sourced another gearbox, a complete gearbox on the pallet over there. I'm actually going to take that, I think, this evening to Ash, so Ash can hopefully get the diff swapped over for us by the end of the week, because I would like to get the engine hung back in the car this Saturday. And then some late nights next week we should be able to get this car running again. So of course I've already bought a brand new fuel pressure regulator. Obviously I bought this from GFB. GFB haven't supplied us with this, but they have given me some decent discount. I bought this really because GFB are already sending us some more bits for the car, and I just didn't want to be that guy that kept nagging for more and more free stuff. So you know, it's nice to be a consumer of your sponsors as well. And the important thing about that GFB regulator is that it is E85 rated, which goes on to a whole different tangent of videos, so we'll leave that there. And of course, a lot of this wouldn't be possible without the help of my friends and my family, new and old. You know who you are. There was quite a lot of old faces at Cadwell that in past years we've not really seen eye to eye. We've had some falling out, but I tell you what, it's great to be good friends back with these people again. You know who you are if you're watching this, so I just want to say thank you. It's been a massive weight off my mind after all these years to finally be chatting again. And of course my wonderful sponsors, which will be on the screen now. We are gaining more and more sponsors as the year goes, and I think that just shows that, you know, when you put a lot of effort into what you do and have a passion for it, people do see that and they're happy to get on board. In fact, speaking of that, we got picked by ICB as car of the event at rounds 1 and 2 at Cadwell Park, and they sent me a box of goodies. But I think you'd agree the most epic thing are these work overalls, which actually brings me to the next subject. Is they've sent me a few pairs of these. Unfortunately they're a bit too small for me because I'm an absolute unit of a man, so I do have a couple of these overalls that I'm going to give away. Which brings me to the end of the video, as always. So if you fancy getting your hand on a pair of really cool ICB overalls and some other ICB stuff, I've got 3XL, 2XL and large available only. I want you to go do a couple of things for me. Is head over to ICB Europe's Facebook page, give it a like. Head over to ICB Europe's Instagram page, give it a like, and then go back to Facebook, scroll down, find the post that they have done about the Spicy Micra. Obviously like and share that post as well, but I also want you to drop a comment on that post and just give me a nice statement about the Spicy Micra. Obviously a nice comment, obviously, and what I'll do in a couple of weeks time is I'll head back over to that post. I will find a comment which satisfies yours truly, and I will slide into your DMs and we'll get your address and we'll get some free ICB goodies out to you. So yeah, I've waffled on for way too long for this video. Rest assured, Micra will be at Brands Hatch and it will be in top form because we have got some massive upgrades to do to this car. We might actually do a separate video on a little debrief because we've done a bit of damage to the car that we need to repair. So if you're still here watching this video, we are definitely well over an hour long. You're probably busting for a pee and you want to get some snacks. So if you're still here, really thank you for watching this long ass video. Hopefully the commentary I've done has made this video a bit more interesting to keep people's attention spans focused. So yeah, obviously don't forget to like, drop a comment down below, share the video, and don't forget to tell your nan. See you maybe in about a week's time, depends how I get on. Love you, bye.